Hey YouTube, what's up? Scarecrow Kaiser here. I'm here today to do a deck profile on my BigBelly build I have been messing around with and stuff. The deck is kind of cool. Long pause there. The deck is cool, and I like the way the build works and the way the deck runs, and so much card advantage is cool. There's something I feel like is a little bit missing, so I've been experimenting a lot. So just mentioning that as I get into this. Which, speaking of, I'm going to get started now. I'm going to start with the grade 3 lineup first. That's a very important part of it, understanding the rest of the deck. First, we have 4 Cannon of Affection, our main grade 3 of the deck, and then just one other grade 3 in the deck, one other BigBelly. So there's only 5 grade 3s in here. You can get away with actually just playing even 4. I've put in a 5th just because I kind of like the extra option of being able to draw into another one, so I can get my grade 3. The deck does function pretty well even if you reduce that. It's not like it's making that big of a difference, but that's how I'm running it. So going forward, that's one big thing to understand in this deck. There's only like 5 grade 3s. Next, I'll cover the starter, Telescope Rabbit. The reason we use him is because he gives us a guaranteed way that we can make one of our guys blow up, which once we get to the grade 1s, I'll explain that. Basically, this card is helping make sure that we don't misgrade, as well as, like, the effect rarely late game helps. Usually this card doesn't matter after you make sure you've gotten to your grade 3, but sometimes it does help. The triggers, we got 4 heals, and then 4 Pond Belly crits, 4 Ruler Chameleons, and last 4 more crits for a total of 12 crits. This deck, because it makes like power columns and can multi-attack and some things, I feel like crits are the best way to go about it. It definitely should not play draws. Draws are not a question. You should not. Almost no great nature deck, actually I can't think of like any really, should ever be playing draws. I think crits, because they're the best trigger early game, as well as like late game, just continuing to have that pressure and being able to put a crit on a card that's going to restand is also like very threatening. So for our grade 1s, we got 4 Mini Belly, our stride fodder. We have less grade 3s, so having him help make sure we stride helps. We got 4 Mike Sabaru, or Mixabaru, however you say this dude's name. He is important just because he helps the deck function consistently, being that if we draw him instead of a grade 3, we can use our starter to make sure one of our rear guards is going to die, and then we'll use him to just go grab our grade 3 we need. And then we have our 4 Shellmaster, our unflipping perfect guard. Deck is, like most great nature decks, very counterblast heavy, so you need the unflip. And next we have 3 Mamunga. This card is pretty cool. Ever since he came out, I wanted to try him, and he's pretty cool. When he dies, as long as he's successful, you get to go grab a grade 2 or higher. So it's like, alright, I'll go grab my Crayon Tiger, or I don't need Crayon Tiger, I'll go grab whatever else I need. I like it. It's a good card. It's a target for our BigBelly to call and give the effect. Yeah. And last grade 1 spot, this is a little bit weird, but as I said, messing around. I'm playing one TikTok Flamingo. He's like Mike Sabru or Duckbill, but he's a countercharger. The deck's very counterblast heavy, so I'm just playing one. Not super reliant on it, but sometimes when I do have it, it's like, oh cool, that's nice, I got it. I can unflip that damage. Getting to grade 2s, similarly, we're playing one Penguin. He lets you, when you call him, choose someone. If that guy dies, you draw and countercharge. So he's like a duckbill / tic-tac. Again, just like the tic-tac, we're only teching one of them. We don't really need him. He's just like a tech card. Then we've got 4 BigBelly. Really good card. When he's successful and he attacks, you can give 2 cards +4 and then draw for each one of their deaths. You don't necessarily get to spam him like the whole match. This deck, although soul blasting isn't a big problem, you can run out of soul. So usually I'll only get to use him like once, maybe twice in a game, but he's still good because he's a target for Cane of Affection. He's got a great effect. Bread and butter of the clan, Cran Tiger. As I said, he's the bread and butter of the clan. You should all know why this card is good. And our last grade 2 spot is 3 Sleepy Tapir. He's like Binoculus Tiger, but he has resist. I've suggested playing Binoculus over this. We have our Telescope Rabbit to ensure we have something for early game to make sure something can die. And with the way the game's going lately, I feel like having the resist has become more important than the other effects. So that has covered the main deck now. For the G Zone, we've got 2 Rimthers, probably the best first stride usually in this deck. When he attacks, after he's done attacking, give somebody power, and then if they're at least 20, you can do the draw. He's a Soul Blast, which isn't that problematic, as I said, like with BigBelly, but when you have multiple cards. So usually he's our first stride. We only stride him once, but we have a second one for backup in case we need a strong play, but we don't have counterblasts. So that's why we play 2 of them. Next we play one of this guy's got a weird name, so I'm just going to call him like the Legion Stride. That's basically what he does. Once you get to success 25, you take 4 cards and put them back in the deck, give somebody power. He's the help not deck out, as well as put more triggers back. He doesn't get used every game, but he's helpful as having an option, so you do use him sometimes. Next we play one Fernigus. This card can be like really cool and helpful, but this card is one of the things where like you really gotta get to know this deck to know how to use this card properly. If you don't use this card properly, basically this card will kill the user. You gotta be very careful. That he draws so much and soul charges so much. You gotta be very careful with this card. Using it properly, it can be very helpful though. Next up, we got 2 Magnamare. I think that's how you say this guy's name. I don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong. But just 2 of them. I don't use them a ton, but I do use him sometimes, and sometimes he's just like, if you've been keeping track of your opponent's hand, you stride into this, and this card is like, in that situation, like the perfect thing to finish your opponent off with. So next we got our 4 big stride of the deck, BigBelly. This card is really strong. It makes one of your rear guards enormous. The on-hit skill kind of matters, but honestly not really. Mostly he's good just because he makes one rear guard massive, and then you restand that rear guard with your Cran Tiger. On on to, or one more G unit. One's to Breeze, because this is a very GB reliant deck, so yeah. And then for the G guards, 2 of the unflipping G guard. It's a very cool card. Guards for 20. Rear guard will die and you'll unflip. Once you get to like stride mode, you don't really need to keep your starter around anyways. So often you'll get it like that. It's cool to drop 2 of these, target the same card, so that one card dies, unflip 2 damage. Can also it's just good. It's a good card. Next we got our 2 Armadillo G guards. He's basically our big shield. The field's almost always set up to use him properly, and he just gets the 10 shield and guards for 25 by himself, so he's pretty good. And our last spot goes to I'm not even gonna try to say this card's name. This guy is kind of like Dismal in a way, but he also lets you call up to 2 cards from your hand, and then he acts like a Dismal and protects them. He's helpful in this deck because when you do your on stride skill with BigBelly, you want things on the field to do it. So this is a way to get them there. And one thing that's actually pretty notable is this deck can sometimes be vulnerable to Shadow Paladins because it will have like nothing out, and then they'll try to Diablo you. But if you have this G guard, your opponent will usually swing at the rear guard column first, so that they can then sacrifice those rear guards for the Diablo effect. And when they swing at that rear guard column first, you can guard with this guy and drop out 2 more guys, and now you have more cards that you can retire to make sure that you get to like perfect guard the attack. So very helpful in that matchup. Yes, so that covers this. Thank you guys for watching.